There you go, Jenny. Okay. I am trying to see everybody who's here. Okay. Welcome, everybody. So glad you're on the call with us. I am nervous, but I'm super pumped about what I have to share. So that makes it okay. So I posted in our team page kind of what I was going to talk about. I'm going to talk about our identity today. This has just really been my personal theme for this year. Like, it's just kind of like, I feel like every year we kind of have something that speaks to us, and something that we need to grow in. And so this, for me, like, this just really hits home. So it seems like everything that I listen to or hear or read, it kind of comes back to this, is our authenticity, who we are as a person. So for those of you that did go to Summit, we went to a really awesome event before Summit started called the Power of You. And that just was amazing for those of you who were there. I know you can say how amazing that was as well. And they just talked about really the power of you. Like, don't try to be someone else. You need to be you, because that's what people connect to. They don't connect to you trying to be someone else. They connect to who you are. So I'm going to talk all about that today. And I have really been feeling drawn to Micah Folsom just recently. That's just kind of who I'm connecting to right now. I love Julie Voris as well. Those are like my two go-to people right now, of just like for my personal development. And so I'm going to talk, I am going to reference Micah Folsom a lot today, and also one other person that Micah had on her podcast. So I'm going to read this. It says, our personal identity dictates our behaviors, and it dictates our behaviors and your personal behaviors. And then your personal behaviors align as you shift your identity. So who are you at the core? So that's kind of just something I want you guys to think about today as we're having our meeting, is who are you at the core? And as you kind of discover that, as you kind of know who you are at the core, everything kind of just aligns. The decisions you make every day, the things that you do every day align with who you are, what you post about, all those things. So one thing that Micah taught in this, the Power of You thing, I'm going to just share some of her, just kind of what she shared at this Power of You, because I loved it so much. And so if you have a paper and pen, you may want to get that out now and just kind of write these things down, like jot them down. One of the first thing I'm going to share is, whatever is personal is universal. So, and anyone can, obviously, if you have something to say, just, I'll try to watch for your hands or whatever, if you have anything to say, but, or just unmute yourself. But so whatever is personal is universal, because we're all connected, right? Like, we're all part of this experience here. We're all human. We're all women too. We have that in common, is that we're all women. And so I think that that's a pretty powerful statement. If you are your most authentic self, you literally have no competition. So that's her first point, is that if you are your most authentic self, you don't have any competition. There's no one else that you need to worry about if you're being yourself. The second one is to believe in yourself. So I think that really, like, if you're not confident in yourself, if you're not confident in who you are, it's going to be really hard to do, I don't know, I guess to accomplish anything in life. You really have to just believe in yourself, and you have to believe in what you're selling. You have to believe in what you're doing. You have to believe in all of those things. So the third one is vision. This one's super important. And this one I feel like has kind of come after I went to Summit. I didn't have a really clear vision for what I wanted. And so Micah just talks about having that vision and bringing it to life. So we talked about this in our last team call with Erin. She talked about having our vision, like what lights you up? What do you want most? Because if you don't know what you want and have that clear vision of what you want, like why are you doing this business and why are you working? Why are you doing anything? You've got to have that clear vision of what you want that lights up your fire like every single day so that you keep doing it and you're consistent with it. And she said, the Lord knows what you want. He will help you. Everything will align when you ask for guidance, know your why, and have a vision, and then show up authentically. So we all, I feel like that's just something that speaks to all of us, is that if we ask for that help, whether with whatever you believe in, whether it's a higher power or our Heavenly Father, just, be prayerful about it, because He'll help us in this, in reaching that vision that we have for ourselves. And I know Brenna's talked about that, like specifically in her life, like just praying for things specifically, like this month I'm really struggling and I really want to hit Success Club 10. Like He knows what you want, but I think that there's something also powerful in expressing that, either writing it down in a journal, praying about it, just something. You write it down, you have a vision board, you have something in front of you. I think that there's definitely some power in that. And then messaging. So messaging is something that I just have struggled with for a lot of years. But as I've become more confident in who I am and this business and things like that, like the messaging just comes easier for me, because you're not trying to be like, oh, well, I don't know, like she said this and it was so good. Like you can look at other people's, what they post and all of that. I think that's not, there's nothing wrong in that. But I think when we're trying to copy that is where we're not aligned with who we are. We need to make it personal to us. And so she just says, get into your heart. Like what's in your heart today? And then message about that. Like share a post about what's in your heart today, or put on your stories, like what's going on in your life. That's you, like that's your life. So post about that. And then our habits. So Mike always says, like, doing those habits, like doing the unsexy things are like, that's what helps us grow in our business, is doing those unsexy habits every day, like doing the 4 vital behaviors. Like that's part of our business as a Beachbody coach. So make sure you're doing those 4 vital behaviors. We may not do it, like I'm not perfect at it, and I need to do better at like being consistent with that, but I'm definitely better than I was. And so she said, just design your life with what you need for your season. So if your season looks like, okay, I can get 3 invites out today and do my follow-ups, great, do it. That aligns with your life, and it's a habit that you need to stick with. And maybe doing, like, posting something like your workout or a product or something every day, like a Beachbody product every day on your stories, or I don't know, I guess just whatever you feel like goes into your habits. Waking up, like some people are really good at like waking up early in the morning and doing that morning routine and getting up at like 4:35, 6, whatever it is, before your kids are up, and getting a head start on the day. That might align with your season of life, and it may not. So just kind of figure out what works for you, what habits work for you in your life. And then process. She said, what feels right for me right now? That kind of goes back to habits a little bit, but just how does it all flow in your day? Like, how do those habits flow in your day? What's your process? She didn't talk a ton about this, so I don't have a lot to say, but just what feels right for you in your process, and with your business, with your personal life, all that. And then having an impact on people. And she said, this is where you have big growth. when you have an impact on other people. You have an impact on those that are signing up with you as you to coach them. You have people signing up to be on your team, so you become a leader, and so you have impact that way. And if that's what you want, if that aligns with what you want in your life right now, then go for it. Like that's, and then just something that I just keep, that I tell myself every single day is like, dream big, but think small. You got to dream big, have that big vision, have that big dream, but you've got to think small, meaning you've got to do those little things every day to help you grow. And so, excuse me, she said, so where are you right now? She said, where you are right now is exactly where you were supposed to be. So don't beat yourself up. Like, don't say, oh, I should be this far along in this business, or I should, like I did that for so long. And that's just like, the shame game doesn't do anything for you. So just accept where you are now and know that that's where you're supposed to be. But where are you going from here? Like, what do you want out of your life? What's your vision? What do you want? And do you want to work for your vision? I mean, that's really what it comes down to, is like, do you really want to do this? Or, I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Does anyone have anything they want to say about that? Was kind of Micah's spiel at the power of you.
I'm doing a lot of work on identity too right now. I hired a business coach, and she's trying to pound this into me, and it's just so hard to really know who you are. It's so much harder than it should be, because it's not really something you can put into words. It's more of a feeling that comes from your heart, like you were saying. Mm-hmm. And then I actually just started a new book called The Untethered Soul that talks about this as well. So I think it's a big process. Like, I don't think it's just like, well, I know who I am, I'm going to hop on social and be who I am. But like, it's an ongoing process, because I'm not the same woman that I was when I started coaching 8 years ago. I don't have the same goals. I don't have the same dreams. And so you're going to change. I mean, your identity is going to grow and change as you go too. So keeping tabs on that and aligning that with your messaging and with your Beachbody goals, I feel like is a constant process that you're always going to have to be fine-tuning and reprocessing. But yeah, I love what you share. And I think this is something that Micah has got down to a T. That's why she's been able to build, 3 or 4 business centers to 15-star, which is, I mean, insane. So I just love that you shared all this too, and that you're working on it too.
Awesome. Thanks, Brittany. Yeah, we aren't who we were. Like, I'm not who I was even 5 years ago. I'm not the same person for sure. So yeah, just always working on and it is a process. And I think that I don't know, I haven't been super great at this, but there's a meditation program that I do. And the first thing you do is you meditate for 5 minutes, and you just tell yourself, you just say it over and over in your head. I am you say your name. So I am Jenny, and I am loved. It's just because that's really the core, is to just to love yourself, who you are, and knowing that you have a lot to work on, but just accepting yourself for who you are now, right now. So there's another, so Micah Folsom interviewed a woman, her name's Jessica Zweig. I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but she has a book that's called Be. And so that might be a really good one too for us to do in our personal development. I haven't read it personally because I just heard about it in this podcast that she did. And so if you want to go and look up Micah, so Micah's podcast is called Do Your Crap. And so you can just find this one. It's all about authenticity. So I've listened to it a few times just because there was so much to there's just so much in it. And it's kind of a longer one, but just some of the main points that I got from her podcast is to just find, we're all, I believe that we're all born with light. We all have a certain light within us, and we're all born with that. And so she just talks about if someone is following you, like if they're on Instagram or whatever you're posting on, and they're following you or they're friends with you, they're following your light. They're following you. They're following your authenticity, and that they're intuitively seeing their own light in themselves. And I was like, whoa, that's a really cool way to think about it. Just like that, we all have light. We know that, but if they're following you, they have that. They obviously have that same light in themselves, and they're seeing that and they're connecting with that. There's a reason that they're following you. And also, if they're having some negative reaction to your light, because you're going to get that too. You're going to get those negative reactions to people, and they're just going to, some people, I don't know, I haven't ever got any nasty messages, but it's just like, you get kind of like a vibe from some people of like, just that they're like, for me personally, it's like, why is she posting every day about her workouts? Like that she thinks she's so awesome and good that she's posting her workouts. That's just one example of like a fear that I have, that people think when I post about things with a business, is like, they just think she's just trying to sell something, or she thinks she's so awesome that she works out every day, and all of that. And so that's just one example. And so if they're having a negative reaction to your light and what you believe in, then that's a self-reflection of their own limiting beliefs. Okay. So don't take it as personal. That's their own crap. That's their own limiting beliefs. And you just got to do you and shut out the noise of everybody else and just do you. Okay. So I think that is like, that's sometimes really hard to do, because we want to be accepted by everybody. But guess what? Not going to be accepted by everybody. We're not for everybody. That's okay. That's why we're all different. So, yeah, just do you, and just, if it feels good to you and it's authentic to you and you're being true to yourself, it doesn't matter. That's just that's what it comes down to. And then I loved what, after this, Micah said, people aren't buying necessarily just the product or the program. They're buying you. So everything that you're posting, everything that all comes from you. So she said, they're buying your energy. They're buying your happiness. They're buying whatever it is that you are. They're buying that. So don't think that it's just like they're buying some program or a product. They came to you for a reason. They're buying you. So just believe in knowing that. And then she talked about it. So this is in the book. She talks about your personal brand or your hologram. And she said, to get some clarity, a little bit of clarity on who you are and how to brand yourself, is like, what are the 4 things that you care about most in your life? So I think that goes back to like when Brenna said, like, it's really hard sometimes, like, to go so internally, like, who am I? So I think that can kind of bring some clarity of like who you are is, what do I care about most? And like really think about it. Like, what are the 4 things in your life that you care about the most? And you can even break it down like business wise. What do you care about most in this business or personal? It can be either or. So what are those 4 things? And that's your brand. Like, that's you. That's who you are. Those 4 things. If you could only talk about, she says, if you could only talk about 4 things the rest of your life, what would they be? That's you. So that's just some food for thought there, that kind of help you get on the path of like who you are and how to brand yourself, how to show up as yourself. So, and then, yeah, that's all I got. That's so.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think finding your brand and your niche target market and all that stuff, it's actually really hard. Like, I don't feel like I am good at it, and I haven't figured it out, because we serve women, right? And most of us serve mothers, but that's too broad. It's too many people. Like, you have to narrow it down. So you have to be talking to a specific group of people, or else you're kind of talking to everyone and your message gets lost. So I think first you have to find your own identity before you can do that. So I think that's super important. So thanks, Jenny, for your thoughts today. Does anyone else have any questions or comments regarding what she taught or anything else business-wise?
Thank you, Jenny. That was a great call. You're awesome. I was talking to Leah, who just signed up as a coach a few weeks ago, and she just turned 50. And we were talking yesterday, and she's like, I think I'm going to focus on women who are going through menopause. And I was like, that's a killer, like, focus right there, because one, most of them are going to be able to afford a $160 pack, right? Plus, they realize the importance of investing in themselves and like taking care of themselves, time, money, all of that stuff. But also, I feel like that generation is just like, that's when exercise started to be big, right? Like I remember my mom exercising and she knew, but it was mostly to lose weight, but they knew that it was important. So I think it was the beginning of all of this. Anyway, I was like, dang, like that's impressive that she knows exactly like who she wants to focus on. And she's going through that too, but I was just really impressed. So anyway,
Yeah.
niche is important.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that niche. Anyone else? If not, we will take a picture. If you girls can be on camera, and I'll stop the recording too.